Oh, Grandma, just it's fine.
Gee, I'm getting used to this. No, you know.
So Red was at the bar
I can
and you had to
remember
go
Jerry, when they moved into this house, I think there was furniture there. You know,
Oh, okay.
evidently. And there was this bed that belonged to this dresser, I think.
Oh.
And it was a 4-poster.
Oh, wow.
And she cut the poster.
Oh. My God. That is too funny.
Well, that wasn't it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dresser's cool, though.
It
So
is.
that was one of those things that was just at the house when you got
Yeah, I
when
think
they
that,
moved
you
in.
know, and then she gave it to me, you know, somewhere along the line
Yeah.
after I was, you
Yeah.
know, and I
Yeah.
don't remember, maybe when we moved here or something.
Yeah.
Because,
I was gonna say, cause I kind
You
of
remember?
remember getting it,
okay.
you know, and it was,
Yeah.
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 So they were together way longer than I thought, Jerry and Red then.
Technically, yeah. You know, of course, he was in the service. And
When
then,
they were married, he was in the service?
yes.
I didn't know
And
that.
then during the war, of course, he was in the service, in the Air Force. And then
Oh, he
her
was in the Air Force.
Red's sister, Velda, her husband was in the service. And I was just a kid when I met her. I mean, probably 10 or 11. I don't know how old I was, maybe 10 or 11. And, but during the war, when they were in service, they kind of got along and they roomed together. They had a little apartment put together.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of and
Velda, you mean Velda and Jerry?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Ronnie was that. By that time, my mom and Doc had moved to Missouri Valley, and then I would come in and they'd say, you know, I think my mom tried to want to get rid of me. But, you know, have me do something.
Yeah.
And
Keep you busy?
and I would come in and sometimes babysit.
Okay. And stay for
Just
few days
weekend
or whatever.
something like
Yeah,
that, sometimes a little longer than that. But so I knew Velda, and
Yeah.
I knew his family.
Because didn't his
Not
mother
his
live?
family, his Red's family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because didn't they live over by Norris in a little tiny house? Who lived over in that little?
That was
that Red's?
Me who somebody babysat with.
I did.
Yeah.
That's
Me
when I
with
babysat
with Scott.
Mark and Teresa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, maybe. I don't
But I always, wasn't that Velda?
I just remember a really
Yeah.
older
No.
woman, an older woman.
Oh,
My brother.
She lived in a little
Yeah.
tiny
And,
house.
you know,
There's me.
alone.
Yeah, and I thought it was
That
Red.
was
Yeah.
Ruthie.
That's Carl.
Ruthie was
And our grandpa.
Look at how handsome you were. What happened?
Red's niece.
What happened?
Oh.
And I don't know who her mother was, but her
Red's niece. Okay.
Red's sister,
again.
Elaine.
Handsome man.
Elaine. They lived by
Right,
I
North
think
Fork,
that's
Helen?
Helen.
up on the farm. And
Grandpa.
who Ruthie was born to, I don't actually know.
Oh,
Whether it's a
interesting.
family or what,
April
but they took her
61,
in
61.
as
Oh.
but I think she
Got 'em all
was
marked, hasn't she?
related.
No, we have to go
Okay.
back.
But I don't know,
Going back.
Kay may
What the
know,
circumstances were.
things like that, and I don't know. But anyway, Jerry always
There's
liked
you and
Ruthie.
Mom.
She was
My mom.
a nice person.
Yep.
She was. I was thinking you were thinking.
That's when she was a little smaller.
Yeah, and it was by
Let her see it.
32nd Street, and
I
I
was just gonna look
never
at that.
could figure out when she'd tell me where she lived, I could never figure it out.
Oh.
Because I know she was a little house, and it was by south of Joe's Parkway, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. I don't really remember very
Where
much. I
that's-
just remember it was really, really tiny, and there was an older lady who lived there. And
You're not talking about the grandma though.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. We might have to back up that
Yeah.
story because I was thinking you were thinking of Ruthie.
Oh, okay.
Because
She must have lived over.
Grandma Meyer,
Mm-hmm.
Kay's grandmother, lived on 38th south of Arbor.
That's probably who I'm remembering.
Okay. That's it.
I remember she was very elderly.
Okay, see, when the war was on, and that was mostly fields over there with, people.
In that area?
Dead ends. But if you went up 38th Street,
Uh-huh.
south of Arbor,
Okay.
there were these 3 houses sitting there. And it was a dead end street, because I had a friend that lived up not when I knew her, but lived up at on the end of that street, and they were dirt roads, I think.
It's hard to believe that was still
I know
fields.
it, but they had Grandma Reba Meyer, lived on the top, at the top of the hill. Mm-hmm. And then there was the second house, I don't know who lived there. And then Jerry and Belda lived in the one that was on the north end of that. There was a space between them and that street they live in. I couldn't tell you what that was. I'm talking about Arbor because I know where Arbor is. Mm-hmm. But that was like a block and a half. But they had water in the house, but they had no bathroom.
Oh, you're kidding.
They had an outdoor toilet.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
outhouse. And they had a pump. Now, wait a minute. They had a pump. Baby Belda did bring in the water. Anyway, Belda took care of Ronnie.
Oh.
And I was trying to think if Ronnie was born, because Belda never worked when she was there. I can't remember if Ronnie was a baby there. But I stayed with her there, and then Grandma lived up
A couple
2
houses
houses.
up, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that far.
Oh wow.
But they had an outhouse.
Oh, that's funny. Wow. And that would have been then in the 40s.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Well, see, when my sister lived on 49th Street,
Which sister?
you know where Gratz is? Mm-hmm. You went up, say, 2 blocks. Mm-hmm. And that's where my sister Helen lived with their 2 kids. And that had no plumbing. I mean, they had a kitchen with plumbing in it, and there was a place that was built as a bathroom, but they had no bathroom. They had an outhouse.
Outhouse too?
With
Wow.
next to the chicken coop. Chicken.
Right here in the middle of town.
Yeah,
I
see,
mean,
and that
yeah.
was a dirt road.
Oh,
That
wow.
was a dirt road from, not from
Ask us so we
Center
can
Street, but from, because I think Center Street was a sidewalk, there were sidewalks.
Oh,
But
okay.
the pavement of the street, I think, ended at maybe their corner. And then it was
Fields and dirt.
dirt.
Oh, that's, what's her name? And,
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So-
isn't
so
it, that was
Beals-
early, that had to be, because I was maybe a little younger than
But Beals was
Early.
there. I mean, Beals was built in
Beals.
1910.
Yeah, well, okay, Beals was there.
Yeah.
And that's where her kids went to school.
Oh, wow.
And not when I knew,
Yeah.
because I had left then, but I didn't see him for a long time.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute, but I always thought Helen, your sister. Are you talking about Helen, your sister lived there?
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought that she and Mary Jean went out to Portland
They did.
as single women.
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
No.
For some reason, I thought
No,
that that's what
no.
they-
It's a great story, though,
I
to have in your
know.
head.
That is a good story. Untrue. No, when Mary Jean, I don't know, see, there was a few years there, I didn't even see him. I just heard about everything from my mother, and who 10-year-old. I mean, what are you gonna
Oh,
do?
yeah.
She
Yeah.
did that. And when she got married, I don't know how long they were married before they went out there, but Mary Jean and her husband Les went out there. And I don't know if he went out there to work on the railroad or if that's what he did, because I'm not sure what he did. But now that I think about
wasn't
it,
he a carpenter?
I don't know.
It
That's a
seems
good
like he was a
question.
carpenter.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, in the meantime, when Helen and I don't know what year they did this, they bought a farm. I think they bought the farm up, maybe by Blair or something. I don't know. They had some farmland up there.
Oh,
And I never visited there. I never
wow.
was there, so I don't know anything. But then they evidently decided, and that had to be the late 40s. It's kind of hard to remember.
Yeah.
We could put those things in
time
the
perspective.
right time frame. Anyway, they went out there, and I didn't know this until just recently when Mary Jean told me that they had. There were some people that went from here to Portland. And evidently, that was a good place to go for jobs and things like that. Because there's this couple that my mother knew, Viva and Ed. Because I stayed with them a couple of days when I was in Portland. But they had gone out there too. And Mary Jean told me, she knew Viva and Ed. And then she said, well, we stayed with them, she and her husband, Les, when she first went out there. I said, oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
And then she said, then later on another time she said, when Helen and Ray went out there, they stayed with them. And they had bought a house by this time, and it was not a really big house, but they had 2 children. I don't know what Mary Jean had, probably had, maybe 3 or something like the little ones. And they stayed with Mary Jean
oh,
for a year.
Oh, wow.
A year.
So it wasn't like a short little.
No, and until I suppose Ray got a job, and
Yeah.
he did. He worked for a mortuary. He was,
oh,
he was one of those, I don't know, escort.
Was
but
he
did.
really?
Yeah, he worked for a mortuary, which he didn't do that here. He worked, when the kids were little, he worked at some place that had something to do with, I think, trucks and things like that.
Oh.
And then evidently the farm didn't, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I
Why they didn't?
I had not, I think about that now, and I think, my gosh, that was years I didn't see
yeah,
Yeah.
anybody.
yeah. Probably not, huh?
Because when we were in Missouri Valley, the only ones I called was Jerry, would a couple of times was there, and Velda was too. But nobody else.
Came
And
out.
John came up there